this is Rachel here with the next episode of #Men Are Trash. So, I'm going to start off with, if you are very sensitive to these subjects, please stop watching. If you are a woman who has experienced some difficult times with men, feel free to indulge. This is just my personal experience. You can be angry, you can think what you want, but this is my story. So, and I have a right to tell my story. I have a right. It's a free country. So I'm not going to disclose any names. I'm not going to disclose when this happened. We can all just imagine. Maybe it happened 10 years ago. You don't know. So, I had a boyfriend. And I thought that he was a nice Jewish boy. Just like my mom. I think I already said this on the other video. Just like my mom always wanted. I had a non-Jewish boyfriend for 6 years and she didn't accept him. He wrote her like long emails of how much he loved me and she like refused. She didn't even respond. And so finally I found a nice Jewish boy and I was like, yes. I was like, I hit the jackpot over here. I was like, this is what my mom always wanted. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, he was pretty handsome. He was handsome, but I don't think I was necessarily that attracted to him. We did get along very well. We got along pretty well. He was pretty easygoing. But things moved quickly. And somehow I ended up living with him right away, like in his apartment. And that's when like things like started going downhill. Actually, before that, things started going downhill. Like there were red flags before that, but I ignored it. The first red flag was when I lived in Queens for like a couple months. And I had my own apartment and he would come visit. And it was fun, but one time we went out to a pizza place. And he goes to pay for the pizza, and he pays for his pizza. And I'm stuck paying for my pizza. And then he says, can we go back to the apartment because, like, there's free juice there? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Free juice? You can't buy a fucking juice? I was like, who the fuck are you, a bum? I don't think I said that, but something a little bit nicer, I think I said. And he was like, yeah, like, why would I get juice here if I could just get free juice in the apartment? I was like, you can't take me on a date in a pizza place? How old are we, like 10 years old? I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And at this point, he was working a part-time job. Yeah, and I just wanted to sit in the pizza place. Was that so much to ask for? Like, to have a nice outing at a pizza place, which is the cheapest place you could eat possible. And he couldn't even buy me a slice, let alone his own fucking drink. That was the first red flag. And I should have listened to it, but I didn't. I just ignored it. He said, oh, I'm just working part-time right now doing social media for a real estate company. Okay, so I moved in with him and I somehow was okay with him working this part-time job and I didn't know much about it. I didn't know how many hours he worked. I didn't know like what it entailed. I didn't know anything. So eventually, like, I was getting suspicious. I was like, I never see you working. I was like, how many hours a week do you work? And he was like, oh, like, it varies, like, weekly. Like, whatever they send me. And I was like, but you don't know how many hours? I was like, does it change every week? Do they send you, like, a weekly pay? Like, I'm just curious, like, what's going on? And he was, like, very vague about it and, like, didn't really give me a real answer. That was the second red flag. And then he showed me his social media post. And this social media post was the worst social media post that I have ever seen in my life. Granted, I'm not a social media expert, but I've dabbled in social media and I have a design degree. So for me to see this guy who claimed to do social media for 5 years at Major League Baseball, this was his, like, big accomplishment, that he succeeded at Major League Baseball. He loves sports. He somehow got into social media and he was, like, super good at it. So good that the career went nowhere. So that's my question. That's another question that I have. And another question that I have had was, all right, so you do social media, where's your portfolio? I'm pretty sure, like, a portfolio is required for any type of social media job, and social media requires some sort of design aspect. I mean, I don't know what he was doing as far as social media for MLB. There was so many social media coordinators, he said. It seemed like all he was doing was watching sports, like, games and typing out tweets. So that's more of, like, a reporter job than, like, really social media. Like, social media is so much more. Like, social media requires photo editing and graphics and posting on multiple platforms and engaging with people. And I'm not sure what he had to do. He wasn't very specific. He was also very vague. He said, like, he would stay up, like, all night watching videos and then writing about it. But, like, that's just not social media. That's a very small aspect of social media. So I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. And I was like, well, what happened with that job? He was like, oh, like, they were cutting the hours and they didn't have enough hours for me, so I just decided to move back here away from the city. And I was like, so, like, they didn't value you? Like, why didn't it go anywhere after 5 years? I don't understand. Not a good reason. Very vague. Probably lying. And I ignored it. I gave up. What can I do? I was asking questions. I was like acting like a investigator at this point. Like, this was, like, my full-time job, investigating my boyfriend about whether he's lying or not. And, like, at this point, why didn't I see all these red flags? Why didn't I, like, just dead him right there? I mean, I was already living with him, so it's like I was already stuck, you know? And I was pretty depressed. I don't know when it started, but I've always been depressed, and it comes in waves. And I think I started to get depressed, like, real quick. And at that point, I had no choice but to, like, latch on to the nearest person and try to survive. And that was him. So I latched on for dear life. And he did help me. He helped me. He tried. He gave me, like, 24-hour therapy. And yeah, he was good at that. And I'm grateful for that. But no matter how much therapy he gave me, the things that he did to me, like, can't compare. It's just, I have so much anger inside me that I can't even be really grateful for all the things he did, because I'm so angry at, like, the person that he is, like, to the core. Like, I learned eventually that he's a pathological liar. selfish, cheap. He spent money. He spent $20 a week on groceries. His food consists of bananas and peanut butter every day for lunch, coffee, eggs and bacon for breakfast, and pizza and pasta for dinner. And yeah, I never cooked. I was pretty depressed, and he actually didn't let me cook. He was like, "No, I'm cooking." I was like, "All right." I was like, "You want to make the pasta? Go for it. You want to make the pizza? Go for it." And then he would brag about what such a good cook he is, and I was like, "Is that a joke?" I was like, "You're cooking pasta and pizza, and you're a good cook." I'm not saying I'm a good cook. I wasn't. Sorry. Sorry.
Because I'm tight.
I'm not a good cook. But once again, I feel like I have an excuse. I was extremely depressed. I was extremely depressed, and when you're depressed, it's hard to do things like cooking. I mean, I had like a million jobs, and he had none. Maybe that part-time job that I think he was lying about. So he told me I would like sleep in, and he would wake up, and he told me that he would work while I'm sleeping. And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he wouldn't show me what he did. I really didn't believe him. He wouldn't show me. Yeah, it was very sketchy. So I'm like, "You're only working when I'm sleeping? Is that true? Like, are you sure?" So as time went on, I had job after job after job. I had so many jobs. The majority of the time, the bosses would hire me for a new position that they thought they knew what they needed, and then they didn't know, and then they didn't give me work, and then they like were giving me 5 hours a week, and I was like, "Is this even a job?" That happened a few times. I got really unlucky. Then there was other times when I was like severely depressed and couldn't make it. But I tried. I tried my best. I was getting job after job after job. I was really trying. And he was sitting at home doing nothing. And I was like, "What the hell? Like, this depressed girl is like doing more than this average Joe."
Yeah.
With nothing. Like, no mental illness, no health risks or conditions, as far as I know. But I mean, he could have something else. I mean, some type of pathological liar. That's not really a diagnosis, but it's something, something to definitely be looked at.
Bring him to the get a checkup.
I think he needs to be evaluated, to be honest. So yeah, this type of behavior seems like a little bit of like narcissism, and I know that like people throw that word around a lot. It could be possible. He could be a little bit. He could have the tendencies. He doesn't have to be a full on. He did say he cared about me. He did act like he cared about me. But he could still have other qualities that pertain to that. So, yeah, you can't ignore these things. You just can't dismiss them. You have to kind of acknowledge them and figure it out for yourself. Because the person, especially a narcissist, which I did a lot of research on, the person will not acknowledge that they are a narcissist. They will deny it. So everything that I brought up to him, all of these things, he just kept denying it and being around the bush, changing the topic on me, not saying that he wants to be my friend, he wants to be there for me. And I'm like, if you want to be there for me after this relationship is over, please confess to your faults.
To admit, yeah.
Yeah, please admit what you have done.
Yeah.
Because since we broke up, all you've done is deny. And he's called me crazy. He's called me immature. He called me spoiled. And I'm sorry, but that's just not the case. I was acting very mature the whole entire breakup. I wrote him paragraphs of reasons why I'm upset, paragraphs upon paragraphs, to try to explain in detail what he did wrong and what I am asking from him in return. No. Denied. Constant denied. Alright, so yeah, so we would go and buy, let's talk about groceries. We would go shop for groceries.
Let's talk about groceries.
We would go shop for groceries, and he wanted to split his groceries to the cent. To the cent. He didn't want to pay 1 cent for my groceries. So, yeah, okay, he was low on cash because he wasn't working, or he was pretending to be working. He could have hopped on Craigslist. I hop on it every day. I go in the gig section. I have like 10 jobs right now. It's not that hard. You know? He was unmotivated. He was lazy. That's all I can come up with at this point. Because I literally have 10 jobs off Craigslist, and they're legit. They're legit jobs. High paying. He could have done that, no problem. So groceries. So we would go buy groceries. He would buy barely nothing. I would indulge and buy what I wanted. You know, this is what I'm going to be eating. Like, I want to buy what I want to buy. I'm going to buy a fruit parfait. I'm going to buy, like, things that make me happy and feel good. Nothing too crazy, just groceries.
Just food.
Food. Normal food. But I'm going to buy what I want, you know? I want to eat what I want. He, on the other hand, would buy tuna fish, pasta, rice,
As
pizza.
if he was, like, really poor. Well,
Poor.
he is poor, but, like, as if he was, like...
Shopping like a poor man, because he was a poor man, but he wasn't doing anything about it. He knew he was poor, and he wasn't doing anything about it. He was just like, yeah, I'm poor. That's it.
I'm going to stay poor.
I'm going to stay poor. And
then he had the nerve of telling you that he was going to give you a mansion,
Oh, yeah.
granite counters, but meanwhile he was doing nothing to not be poor.
yeah, okay. So listen, this could be like maybe a few hours at this
I
point.
don't have time for a few hours. You're already at 17 minutes.
All right.
You have 3 more
This
minutes.
could go. No, I'm not done. This is an ongoing discussion.
Okay, fine.
We need to tell the whole story and the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, right. That's right.
What is that from?
The truth, and that's like when you're going up to the stand.
Oh, exactly. I'm on the stand right now because this is the truth and nothing but the truth.
Hand to God.
So help me
So
God.
help me God.
So help me God. This is the truth and nothing but the truth. I will not tell you any lies. Nothing is like, this isn't malicious. This isn't trying to get back at him. This is just me telling my experience of what happened to me in this 2-year relationship of, good times, half and half. Good times and misery. All right, so okay, so the next thing was he decided that he was going to be a real estate agent. His mom has been a realtor for like 20 years, and he claims that she's an excellent real estate agent. So he starts taking a course. I think I had to push him to take the course. I was pushing him. Finally, he takes the course. I was like, wow, like, he's actually doing this. This is crazy. Takes the course. While he's taking the course, he still could have gotten a job.
Yeah.
On the side, no problem. I'm sorry, but that wasn't a full-time thing. He could have hustled, but he didn't. Okay, so I'm working jobs. He's not. He's doing his real estate work, which is pretty easy. Okay, then it's time to take the test. I'm helping him with his flashcards. I'm being a good girlfriend. Then he passes the test. Great. He signs up with a real estate company that his mom works for, and apparently he gets like a better commission split because the mom already works there. So they're like, oh, you're her son, you'll get the same high commission split. All right, that sounds good to me. I was like, hell yeah. Little did we know that this real estate company, I don't know why the mom was with the company. She should know better if she's been in the industry for 20 years. Not sure why she was with this company. This company didn't offer him anything. No, real estate companies, it's in their best interest. I mean, I'm not even in the industry, but I can imagine it's in their best interest to, number one, train their realtors, because if they, and I'm pulling this out of my ass, but it's true. So train the realtors, because it's in their best interest to train the realtors, because the realtors are going out and getting sales, and the brokers are getting a commission off that. So the more sales that the realtors make, the more the brokers make. So these brokers didn't do shit. I don't know what they were doing. They didn't do shit. Months went by. The only thing Ben was doing was they were giving him like a list of like sales that like didn't sell. The house was like listed with a realtor, it didn't sell. And so now another realtor can jump in, contact them, and try to get them to let him list the house. He can be the realtor for them. So all he had was a list of people, and he had these cards where he had to handwrite a card, like so old school, and send it in the mail and hope that they somehow open it and are down.
Interested in buying a house?
Yeah, are interested in listing their house.
Oh, okay.
Because their house was already listed and it didn't sell. So now do you understand?
Yeah.
Now another realtor can jump in and say, let me list your house, I'll sell it better.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was writing these cards, and he has the worst handwriting. So you can imagine, I'm like, oh shit, this is not good. And then he was like, Rachel, can you write it? Like, you have better handwriting. And I was like, great. I was like, the one thing that you're doing for work, I have to do now? I have to write card after card for you? He was like, you can't help me? I was like, fine. I was like, I'll freaking write your cards. So I literally wrote card after card after card.
What were you writing in these cards?
Like a long paragraph. Like, I don't remember what we were writing, but we were trying to convince them to choose him as a realtor. I probably wrote it for him.
You probably figured out what to write too, right?
Yeah, I probably wrote it all for him. Because he's not the brightest. Alright, so... Alright, so that was the beginning of a new career, and he needed time to get started, and that's what he said. And I agreed. I was like, yeah, you do need time. I know you need time. He was like, yeah, I need time. I can't spend money. I don't have money, and I need time. I was like, all right, fine. I allowed him a lot of time. Time went by.
Like a year.
Time went by, yeah, like a year later. Finally, his broker, another company bought out the broker, and the new company was actually decent. They signed him up for Zillow, which is like a huge home sales and apartments website that realtors use to get leads. So he was constantly getting phone calls for people who were inquiring about either homes or rentals, and he was finally getting leads like handed to him, and I was like, oh shit, nice, like you actually have stuff to do. So he would go out and show these houses, and he acted like all confident, like he was the best thing on earth. That's good to be confident. I mean, that's good. You have to be. You fake it till you make it. But he would go to these like trashy houses in Mountain Lodge, and the house was on like a dirt road that was like very hard to drive on. Like unless you had like an SUV, it was like impossible to drive on. And he kept getting these houses like over and over again. He kept getting this other house that was like not up to code, had so many like things like permit issues, like weird things. And he just kept getting lit, like for the same houses, like the same weird houses that had problems that were never going to sell. And yeah, he was wasting his time, but he had no choice. He had to do whatever he could. And okay, so finally, one of those cards that he sent out worked. And I was amazed. It worked. He got a couple to have him list their house. And yeah, that was great. I was like, oh, thank fucking God. I was like, oh my God. I thought it would never happen. They got a couple. And he was doing pretty good with it, I think. I mean, I don't know. But he seemed confident because that's what he's good at. It's pretending. He seemed to have everything under control. And I guess if he ever had a question, he would ask his mom. And, he had everything under control for that one client. And that was the extent of his work day. Maybe an hour or two of the day. And that was, call it a day. I'm done. Mm-hmm. Realtor. Mm-hmm. Famous realtor. Mm-hmm. Best of the best. One client, one and done. All right, so I was like, Ben, you're only working 1 or 2 hours a day. I was like, do you think this is a job? You should probably get another job. You need money. And he was like, yeah, I know. I'm applying. I apply for social media jobs every day. And I was like, social media jobs? I was like, I think you need to get a different day job. This isn't your career. From what you've told me, it doesn't seem like you're qualified to do any type of social media job. I was like, you don't have a portfolio. You don't know how to design things. I was like, no one's going to want you. You need to find something different. You can't do that. You're wasting your time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, I'm applying. And I'm like, and actually I never saw him applying. So I think he was lying. Yeah, that rhymes.
Yeah.
All right, so eventually I started applying for jobs for him. I started finding him jobs and sending him jobs. And most of the jobs, he was like, I'm not working in food service. I'm not being a waiter. I'm not working in a warehouse. I'm not doing manual labor. I was like, Ben, you're a man. You can do a man's job. It's not the end of the world. Do your real estate and get a job. One and done. Just do it. Nike. Just do it. Just fucking do it. If you need money, and just fucking do it and stop being a bitch about it. Excuse after excuse. Every job I sent him. No, I won't do that because of this. No, I won't do that because of this. I was like, what job will you do? I was like, will you do any job at this point? He's like, I have higher standards than that. So high standards that you'll be broke on the street. Is that high standards? So, okay, so he never got a job. And I kept sending him jobs. Job after job after job. I sent him 1,000,000 jobs. I don't think he even applied for any of them. No. And so...
Except for the one that he did apply to and he got.
He did apply to one. You know why? I sent him a glasses and contact store salesperson. And he thinks very highly of himself as a salesperson. He thinks, oh, my dad was a professional salesperson. He was the best of the best. And I have it in my genes. I'm also the best salesperson. Yeah, because you're a freaking bullshit artist. You lie about every single thing you say. Mm-hmm. Everything you say, Rebecca said at dinner, he would come to Friday night dinner and whatever he said sounded like bullshit. Mm-hmm. Whatever he said sounded like he was pretending to know what he was saying, but everything he said didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I was like, I never thought that. Our entire relationship, I liked what he had to say. I must have been delusional. I don't know. I somehow liked what he had to say. But the rest of my family was like, yeah, I mean, he didn't really say much. He kind of had a zero personality.
Well, I mean, when it came to talking about I don't know. No, when it came to talking about like therapy stuff, I feel like he was good.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
good at therapy.
That he was good at.
Oh, yeah. I told him a lot of times. I was like, shit. I was like, you should become a therapist.
Yeah.
You could give advice, but you can't take it.
Right. Right.
Give advice all day. He could
Yeah.
do it. He could give it.
Yeah.
No, he can't take 1 ounce of advice. But yeah, he was very supportive. He was very convincing that he like loved me. He convinced me. And that's why I stuck around, because he loved me so much. He cared about me so much that I believed it. But I don't believe it anymore. There's no possible way that he could love me the way he treated me. Okay, so he had a nice Jeep. It was a cool Jeep. A nice black Jeep. And he leased it. And ever since I met him, he knew that my family's business is paying for my gas. That's just like a perk that they offer. And he must have felt jealous. What? All right, we're gonna take a break. All right, I'll continue. All right, so he must have felt jealous that I was getting like free things, but like I was severely depressed. So, you know, there's a reason for me to get a little help from my parents. You know, I was trying my hardest through the depression, and if my parents want to give me a little help, so be it. I think I deserve it through the stuff that I've been through. Like, you don't want to even know the extent of it. The battle, like a 13-year battle. And so he had his car, and I had my car, and anytime we went somewhere, he said, let's go in your car, you have free gas. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you have a nice car, use it. He was like, why would I use it if you have free gas? I'm like, you're paying for the lease, for the car, the insurance. Like, take me on a ride in your car. Like, I'm your girlfriend. I want to drive in your car once in a while. Like, not even far away to, like, ShopRite. Like, is this a joke? You can't drive me to ShopRite in your car. You have to use my free gas. All right, so that was another red flag. So eventually, we couldn't afford to live in the apartment anymore. I didn't have a job because I was really depressed. And he still hadn't made any money from real estate. $0. So his savings were getting low, like by the minute. So he was like, Rachel, we need to move out. We need to move in with your mom or my mom. And my mom didn't want him because she was like, he doesn't have a job. I'm not taking care of him. And he was like, what do you mean she doesn't want to take care of me? Like, I'm an adult and I'll clean up around the house. Like, I'll be good. And my mom's like, no, he doesn't have a job. He's not making money. No. And my mom would want to charge him something to stay, you know, electricity, food, like, you know, like my mom takes him out to eat all the time, cooks him dinner, and he didn't want to pay anything. He just wanted to live here for free and like mooch off my family. So then another option was to live in his mom's basement. But at that point, I was severely depressed and I was embarrassed. I didn't want his mom. Like, I was embarrassed to even go see his family at that point because I was so depressed. And I didn't want them to see me like that. And so I was so embarrassed. I was like, there's no way I'm living with your mom. I'm not going to be comfortable. Like, even if it's in the basement, I'm not going to be comfortable. Like, I'm just so low right now. I can't do that. That's just too much pressure. And I was like, let's just stay in the apartment. Like, please, I don't want to move. Like, I really can't move right now. I'm really depressed. He was like, all right, if we want to stay in the apartment, then my car, I need to end the lease because I can't afford it. Can I share your car? I was like, are you kidding me? And I just was like, I gave in. I was like, all right, fine, do what you gotta do. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I guess we can do it. All right, now we're sharing a car. And it gets worse.